Hi everyone, this is Frank DiMora, where I've been connecting the dots between Bible prophecy and current events since 1977. And I'm going to continue to connect the dots for you in case you don't know what the Bible prophecies state that would take place in the last days. Now, on March the 10th of 2022, I gave you some information about Ukraine and Russia and what was going on there with this war and how it affects other prophecies and how Russia is a main player in the Ezekiel war. So what I'm going to do is put this video that I made on March 10th on my website so that you'd be able to listen to what I said on March 10th. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because today, March the 28th, Mark Levin was interviewing a guest on his show. And this expert was talking about a ripple effect of the Ukraine war, what was going to happen. And when you listen to it, you'll get a clear picture of what I was describing in the video that I made on the 10th of March. Now please keep in mind, on that March 10th post that I put up, I talked to you about Syria, Iran, and Russia. And you'll see the importance in this interview that Mark Levin has. So listen to what he has to say. It's not going to be long at all, and I'll come back.
Welcome back, America. One of the great minds in America, Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow. He is the author of a recent book called The Dying Citizen. Victor Davis Hanson, I want to ask you about what you see going on in the world. I'll try and narrow it as best I can.
So I'm going to stop it there and go right to the heart of the matter that I was talking about with Russia, Iran, and Syria.
That's very dangerous. But, you know, I'm worried about all the ripples that are coming out of this Ukrainian mess, and that is, especially Iran, I think we've overlooked that. The idea that we're using Putin as an interlocutor, and we invited him into Iran. It's just like John Kerry did, remember, in 2015, I think, when we invited Putin into the Middle East, and he's there. But if you think about what's going on in Iran, it's just mind-boggling that we're basically creating a scenario where Russia is already controlling the airspace of Syria, and they will be now maybe wink and nod telling Israel, this country is going to get a bomb because we're doing the negotiations, and they may be under our nuclear umbrella. So if you have any idea of preempting, be careful, because we may retaliate in kind to you. And by the way, if Hezbollah starts sending missiles from Syria, we're not necessarily going to discourage them. And I don't think, I really admire Zelensky, but when he said the Israelis should not only vote against Russia, which they did in the UN, but sanction them, I thought, well, yeah, they should, but if they do, we've created such a mess now that Putin could unleash Hezbollah missiles into Israel. Israel couldn't get into Syria because of the Russian air defenses, and maybe they're going to protect Iran under their nuclear umbrella, and that would ensure a disaster for Israel. So all of this gets back to that moment of weakness that convinced Putin to go into Ukraine.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
So let me make it very clear for the people who do not follow prophecy that much and the current events. You have the United States who've been bargaining with Iran, and we're at a really weak position with President Biden, unlike when President Trump was in office. And over again, as I've been warning over the years, I kept saying that Israel can never allow Iran to have a nuclear bomb because the leaders of Iran have already stated that they'll use it against Israel. Now, Russia, as you saw in this Mark Levin interview, has already established itself in Syria. And so the nuclear deal that he's referring to is the one with Russia and Iran. And since Russia is controlling that airspace, just like you saw in this interview, any attempt by Israel to bomb Iran to stop the nuclear program would be just like attacking the ally of Russia. And that could force, as he was saying, missiles from Hezbollah, which would be raining from the north, into Israel. So you have a scenario pretty much like we see in Ezekiel chapter 38. And it also could be an example of Psalm 83 war, of which we see the bordering nations around Israel attack Israel in these last days. So there's a host of events taking place that could be very significant in the completion of two of these prophecies that haven't been fulfilled yet. But as long as the players are identical to as we are told in the scriptures, you should be on the alert. You should be watching these events, because we are definitely in the last days. So please go over to my website, either one of them, www.bibleprophecyman.com or endtimesresearchministry.com. And if you have any comments at all that you want me to read, send those comments to my email, which you'll see on the screen. God bless, and thank you for allowing me to come in and keep you informed as what we're seeing relating to the current events and Bible prophecy.